Been discussing the latest Quinnipiac poll out today finds Joe Biden has opened up a 15-point lead over Donald Trump nationally. This is his widest lead in Quinnipiac to date, along with a significant drop in the president's approval rating, which is down 6 points in just the last month. And it finds 36% of Americans approve of his job in office, while 60% do not. That's the highest disapproval of his presidency. And as Charlie was referencing, in critical battleground states, Biden is also coming on strong. A survey among registered voters in Pennsylvania finds him 13 points ahead of this president. Jason and Charlie are back. Jason, I want to give you a chance to sort of widen the lens. You know, it's my sense, or it was my belief when I worked in politics, that the voters don't hold outside events against you necessarily, but they are judging how you respond to them. And if you look at the tragic murder of George Floyd and how the president has somehow decided to respond by restoring the Confederacy, I guess, as an answer, or intermittently tweeting about law and order. You have the pandemic, which is raging like a wildfire. The president's response to try to cut the CDC out of the hospital reporting data about COVID patients. I mean, it is his response that has him in that position. And I'm pretty sure his belief is that it is the events themselves. What's your take?
Yeah, well, Nicolle, on the one hand, it's the president's failure to respond. But the other hand is he doesn't have a good target. I mean, look, Donald Trump is great at coming up with nicknames and attacking people. And if you look at his personal life, his professional life, and his political life, he has mostly spent that by being mistreating women and mistreating black people. And that's how he got ahead in politics, right? He could attack Barack Obama. He could attack Hillary Clinton. Well, now he's got a white guy. He's got a white guy in his 60s. Who doesn't like Joe Biden, right? And so Trump doesn't have anyone to distract people with. He can't say, look over here at the brown person, look over here at the woman, look at this person who can't handle it as well as I can as a straight white man in office. And that is making it more difficult for him to distract people from his sheer and utter magnificent incompetence. And here's the problem going forward. There is no way out of this. There's no way. He tried. He got himself impeached. There's no way that he can say Joe Biden will handle this worse, because people in Ohio and Arizona and Florida and Georgia, they can't see a worse version of this. He can't claim I'm managing the economy well, because the economy is going into the gutter. Schools don't know if they're going to be able to open this fall. Movie theaters are done. So the president is in the most difficult position he has ever been in his life. I don't see how he gets out of it, because Joe Biden, all he's got to do is sit back. The Republicans in a circular firing squad at this point, and all he's got to do is walk into the White House.
You know, Charlie Sykes, I think Democrats are justified in sort of their polling PTSD from 16. And I think it's the right advice that most Democrats are sort of cautioning against reading too much, especially into the national polls. But you can tell by two things. One, where the Biden ads are up, and they're up in all states that Trump won. And two, by the message. Joe Biden has turned to the economy now. He obviously bests Donald Trump on any questions of empathy or understanding the pain and the fear of a health crisis. Joe Biden has lived that, of loss. Joe Biden's life story is the story of overcoming grief and loss. But now he is turning to what Donald Trump thinks is his strength, and that's the economy. That speech this week, I think, was one of the things that put in motion what you accurately described as yesterday's bleep show.
No, you're right. And I want to follow up on something that Jason said. If in 2016, Trump matched the moment of people wanting to burn it down, he's clearly the wrong man for this particular moment, because his playbook and his appeal is anger and chaos. That's what he sells. And I think what America needs right now is empathy and competence. And a country that is exhausted and looking for someone to lead, someone who actually seems to have normal human emotions, is something that he can't change. He can't change that dynamic. So this is turning into a referendum on Donald Trump. And, what you saw yesterday was a man without a plan, didn't seem to care, didn't seem very connected to reality, and no sense of empathy whatsoever. And I keep repeating that because I do think that is going to be the mood in November. And so these numbers are bad, and I would caution against complacency. But I also agree it's hard to imagine a massive shift in voting, because we've been watching this show for 4 years. Donald Trump has showed us who he is over and over again, and folks get it.
Well, I guess, Jason, the only thing scarier than Donald Trump continuing to show us who he is asking the question, what will he do if he's facing a defeat? What is sort of in your bucket of worries about the desperate measures he'll turn to ahead of November?
Well, So, he's already made it clear he's stoking racial violence. And I remember back in the 2016 Democratic convention when all the people got on stage, where most of us were probably there, and they were singing, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. And I thought it was corny at the time. But now it actually makes sense. That's actually what America is looking for. And the president's only way of combating that is by saying, look, vigilantes, attack them, attack the governor of Michigan, refuse to wear a mask. And if he ends up losing, and I am convinced right now, if we look at the numbers, we look at the economic data, we look at the demographic data, the only way that Donald Trump can win this fall is if he cheats. And if he cheats at a massive level, and if he does not win, if it looks like a week out that he's still losing Pennsylvania by double digits and losing Michigan and losing Florida and losing North Carolina and having to spend money in Arizona, I have long believed that Donald Trump will not leave office. And we have to remember the fear that I have is not just that he won't leave, but remember, because so many of these ballots are going to be coming in by mail, we're not going to have a new president on election night. It's going to take weeks. You're going to have militias showing up at vote counting locations threatening people. So we are in for a very, very difficult couple of months. And we may be comfortable at the polling now, but we got to recognize that we have a president who is a proto-dictator, and he will do anything in his power to stay out, regardless of what the actual numbers say.
Charlie Sykes, same to you.
Well, I don't want to go to DEFCON 1 or is it DEFCON 5. I'm not sure on whether he'll leave office, because I think that Donald Trump is actually looking forward to a certain extent to his post-presidency, since he's clearly not interested in actually doing the job of being president. But look, this is a man who will not hesitate to shatter any sort of norms, who will not put the country ahead of his own ambitions. You look back and ironically enough, have to acknowledge that Richard Nixon in 1960 and Al Gore in 2000 were patriots who understood they could have continued to have litigated the election, fought the results, but decided that they did not want to put the country through it. Donald Trump does not have that instinct. And I think that you saw his willingness to throw out the commutation, to commute the sentence of Roger Stone, 100 days before the election, 115 days before the election. There are no limits to what he will do and what Bill Barr will do and what he will ask a lame duck Senate to do.
Charlie Sykes and Jason Johnson, two of my favorite people to talk to on any news day, especially this one. Jason, we're very glad you're back. Keep that studio fired up. We're going to be calling on you early and often. After the break, ending our program with a celebration of lives well lived.